can tell our friends, and they can have my things when we're dead. But we gonna live forever. We gonna live forever.
It's Boys Cast time. Friday. Hey, I liked your Elon Musk joke. It's the hard money joke. Elon Musk prepares to host SNL by saying, "My wife," in Borat verse to Grimes several times a day.
Probably not super far.
That's the pinnacle of humor.
Yeah. Well, it's still funny. You have to stop yourself from...
For me, it's "My wife" and "Was up." That was my comedic
Was
influences.
Up was solid.
You go, what was your comedic influences? Mainly the "Was up" commercial. Okay, so before we get into a trillion things, I always thought it was because there's a lot of talk about cancel culture. It's a hot topic these days, but no one really talks about the real cancel culture, which is I've been banned from Lyft once again. So this is the fourth time I was banned, and I keep having to get people to do my call me Lyfts. And
what about Uber?
Well, Uber, I got banned a while ago.
You're banned for life?
I don't know. I've been trying to get it back. It's been difficult. I'm in talks with the people at Uber to get my account
Didn't
back.
we take one yesterday?
No, I got banned after that.
Oh, you got banned later.
So basically,
were you doing eating, drinking, or
so
no
basically
mask?
they say that. So I've been banned 4 times, and I don't not wear a mask in the thing.
You just lazy?
Well,
wearing
one
it?
time I got banned because the guy said I opened the door on the wrong side of the street.
Okay.
It was the issue. And then the other 3 times I was like eating or had a coffee in the Uber, so I took my mask down for 2 fucking seconds.
Yeah.
And then they snitched on me.
Tyrants.
But I never really give bad ratings, but I just don't get, why would you finish the ride? I'm out of your car, and then you go, let me ban this guy. What do you care? It's out of your hand.
Well, I guess they're supposed to rate you like you're supposed to rate them.
Why? Why bother? I get out of their car, and they go, make sure this guy can never take another lift again?
Yeah, they're protecting...
They think they're protecting the citizens?
Yeah, they're protecting the citizens.
Had a sip of coffee without my hazmat suit on.
Ryan's a yellow cab man.
Anyways, I'm gonna have to do yellow cabs, but the lift system in New York, they if you so much as look at them the wrong way, they're lift Nazis. Anyways, I saw this tweet I thought that was kind of going viral, and basically the girl, which sort of something that I've been saying for a while, but they said, I've been watching Boondocks, Boondocks.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I've been watching Boondocks for the first time, and I have feelings. I understand the viewer is supposed to laugh at some of these characters, but I must say it feels gross as an exceedingly melanin deficient person to laugh at black characters.
Yeah.
So...
that was always my issue with the Cosby Show.
That got tagged a lot of the woke racist memes.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. But
that's what you said, that when you're watching Cosby. You said,
I go, how am I supposed to? Yeah, these poor black doctors. How am I supposed to laugh at them?
But this is what I've been saying for fucking ever, that these people, it's a fucking prisoner's dilemma.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not a prisoner's dilemma, but they go, hey, we need comedy to be all, marginalized people, which is, 90% of the population now. Mm-hmm. So that's comedy has to be marginalized people, but also you can't laugh at marginalized people. So the only thing that she can laugh at is black comedy about how sick they are.
Yeah, exactly. The moment they have any sort of self-deprecating
and the point is, and even on top of that, you go, okay, the type of person that's online complaining about this, being like, I can't watch Boondocks because I can't laugh at black people or whatever. You think she likes Def Jam where they're talking about how sick they are? Like, do you think
No.
she likes Bernie Mac?
She's not a Def Jam.
Well, that's what you should say. You should go, listen, I know that you can't laugh at black people. That's, obviously I understand your infrastructure, but here's 6 minutes of Bernie Mac talking about how big his dick is.
Yeah, he goes, I'm blessed. And she goes, this is...
Do you think she likes that? So it's like, what can you laugh at?
She likes Lena Dunham.
No, that on that track, because the only thing she can really watch is black people making fun of her.
Yes. Yeah, like if she's in the audience and be like...
No,
literally, they hand her a whip and they're like, whip yourself.
She goes,
yes, sir.
See, white people drive like this. She goes, black people drive. I've heard enough.
Yeah.
How white people drive. Now I'm listening again.
What does she call herself? Melanin deficient?
Yeah, also melanin deficient's amazing.
That's so funny.
Because she's trying to make it a negative.
Yeah. You're like, it's literally all white people are like, it's a negative.
But yeah,
they're
all missing
melanin.
something. She's missing something.
Yeah.
They're not,
Yeah, we're all melanin deficient.
But there's nothing. But the original thing didn't have anything that was bad. Like you go, you're white, you're black. You're like, It's as if you go, they're not missing something, you're missing something. We go, well, no one said they're missing something. We go, well, we.
It's
are
like basically
missing
calling black people like pigmentally challenged. That's like
no, they're
what-
pigmentally.
Well, no, it's like you could call it either, but like that's you're saying that you're pigment, and they're like, no, we're just.
Yeah. But so, anyways, this is what I've been saying forever: is you get in this situation where they get themselves into a corner where they go, put the, all you have to put. This is the problem that I was having when I was making TV shows, because it was very diversity central, and I go, yeah, I'm down. The life hack, just black guys.
Yep.
black dudes and brown dudes.
Black dudes and brown dudes. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Where they're like, well, we actually want you to put a guy in a wheelchair. You're like, well, that's gonna be tough for me.
I could put one of my black friends in a wheelchair, but he's
Yeah, it
not
has to be black
but he's
still.
not in a wheelchair. And they go, oh, you definitely can't.
Yeah,
do that.
I'll put Drake in the sketch. Yeah, but he's not in a wheelchair. But then they have to be the hero, and you go. Anyways, I've been talking about this forever, and it's. I thought it was just. Funny.
I haven't never watched the Boondocks. I've heard lots of people talk about.
Boondocks
it's a great,
is hilarious.
Great show. Who's it written by?
I don't know.
It's black people.
It's got to be black people.
So
yeah.
it's just like so she's watching a show about black people by black people, and she's like, I can't laugh at this.
For black people is the part that you're missing,
That
Daniel.
too. But I know white people who have like.
I know I'm saying she's wrong, but that's essentially her point. Is this isn't for me.
My favorite part about people like that who are so wrong is when they publicly are wrong, and then like there's 50,000 people who are like, you're wrong. And then she's like, no, it's you who is wrong.
It is you who is wrong for watching that show and enjoying it.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, she can't, all the feedback in the world could not change her mind about that.
Well, it's almost like because in her, I think
Because then she's like, what else am I wrong about that on like core principles?
Well, of course, there's no backtracking. But when you're in that world where you're living in a world where you think that the worst of everyone in the world, she thinks that someone like you, a Nazi, Jewish Nazi, would be watching Boondocks Saints being like, ha ha, look at these fucking idiots.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Oh, what an idiot.
This just confirms everything I've ever thought about the blacks.
Look at this. God, doesn't even have a job. That's how they think that you're watching the Boondocks.
Isn't one of them a samurai or something?
No, I think there's always Japanese imagery in all black stuff, like the Wu-Tang Clan too. They love fucking
kung fu.
They love karate.
Yeah, kung fu.
Now male comedians love karate because of Joe Rogan. But before we even get into the bulk of things, I thought it was important for us to bring up the recent developments. So some people that have been following the cast for a while may have heard some inkling of this story. A certain Roberto Alomar. So give the stats on Roberto Alomar. That seems like something you would know.
2-time World Series champion. I think he's like a 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-Star in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Not the Jays Hall of Fame.
Played for the Blue Jays, right?
Played for the Blue Jays, and then in the Orioles, and then he was famously spit in the face of the umpire.
Yeah, and didn't he say he had AIDS?
There was a rumor he had AIDS. But,
so he spit in the umpire's face, and there was
the rumor about the AIDS wasn't at the time. It was just gross.
Well, so I have a not rumor. So basically, recently he was going to be in the MLB.
No.
The Hall of Fame.
No, he's in the Hall of Fame.
He was going to be in something like a Hall of Fame.
No. Okay, so he's in the MLB Hall of Fame. And it's hard. That's the hard Hall of Fame to get into.
Okay,
he's in it, so it's a great accomplishment. He's a great player. He
Danny
worked.
Loves this guy.
Always, yeah. Not actually. I don't.
You love him.
I don't love
Continue.
him. I like Carlos. I like Carlos Delgado.
You're in love with him.
I like Carlos Delgado. But anyways, he worked for the Jays as like a scout or something, and then there was this like investigation into something he did like 5 years ago, sexual. The MLB investigated it
So
privately.
what did they take away from him? I'm saying.
So he's like basically can't work with Major League Baseball any longer.
He does all this stuff
in
like
Toronto. They have like the Circle of Excellence, which is like your name's up there, which is a big deal. There's only like 8 players. They removed him down.
Okay, so they're taking all this stuff.
They're canceling.
And
he's being canceled
from
baseball.
And basically, what it is some alleged sexual assaults from like 20 years ago. Or whatever,
no, from
right?
2014. The one thing I'll say is this isn't like he's getting vilified in the court of public opinion. Like it's not that at all. It's the opposite. They did a straight up like private independent investigation. Like he had, the opportunity to defend, they didn't like be like, we're going to let the court of public opinion decide. And then MLB's like, yeah, this is too much for us. And
so I'm not, my point has nothing to do with Roberto, his case, the girl.
I mean, it might have something to do with this.
This is all that I'm saying was in my group of friends. One of the all-time mysteries is one of my buddy's sister's friends and this has got to be late 90s, early 2000s. Goes to Roberto Alamar's hotel room. He has a hotel room above the
So he
Skydome.
famously, had a hotel in the Skydome.
So he could pick the girls out.
Yeah.
While he's batting, he could send his scouts out to pick up the girls, and they'd send them up to his hotel. This Mr. Baseball was the nickname at the time.
Yeah.
Mr. Baseball, Roberto Alomar. She goes up to the room. My buddy, sister's friend, up to the room. He's in there, Mr. Baseball, big deal for her. she's sitting in the hotel room, anticipation.
She's probably what, like 19 or something?
Probably 19, 20. She's in the room feeling good about this. She's with Mr. Baseball. Mr. Baseball goes to the bathroom. He says he's gonna freshen up a little bit.
Yeah, of course, got to freshen up.
Mr. Baseball emerges from the bathroom with a towel on, exclusively just a towel, no clothes. Drops the towel. And then says the words that have been forever famous, get to the cock. That's where the story ends.
That's where
folks.
it ends. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows whether
she got to the cock.
It's one of the life's greatest mysteries whether she got to the cock. That's all the information that I have to provide to you.
Yeah.
Mr. Baseball said get to the cock. Did she get to it? Did she not get to it? This is the question that people in my friend group have been pondering for ages. And a piece of information here that potentially, and everyone, they're doing their own investigation, but I'm doing a parallel investigation to find out whether the girl got to the cock.
Yeah.
And so there's a couple.
MLB's also been investigating it apparently.
Well, MLB, they're not they're already convinced she got to the cock.
Yeah. And she didn't want to get to it.
That's what they said.
That's what MLB's saying.
We never
she got to it, but she didn't want to.
We never heard. So but this is a move of his. So this wasn't a one-time pop for him. Do you think she's the first girl? So some of the theories that have been floating around in various group chats is that maybe this is a possibility, is that there was a girl that was told to get to the cock, and then when all this came out, she thought it was her special line, so she's not happy. Possibly a jilted cock getter.
Yeah, she goes, what? You said that?
I thought that was our thing.
Yeah.
Option two
Possible.
is what Danny's saying, is that she got to it against her will.
Yeah, that's possible. Or she just got to it and then felt bad about it later.
Option three. So there's a lot of options.
Just the regret.
But after big investigations, it is leading to the fact that friend's sister's friend got to it.
Got to it, for sure. Yeah. He wasn't... She got to. Oh, I mean,
if I had to say,
even before this came out, if I had to guess, she got to it.
We didn't want to jump
because if she didn't get to it, then there's the whole story of she's like, yeah, and I fucking stormed out.
And
of
I would
there.
have loved to find that out, but we didn't have that information. No. And every time we bothered his sister to ask her more stuff, she told us no.
We said no. She wouldn't.
We'd be like, we need to know. Well, we were fucking 16 at this time,
right?
And then his sister's like 21.
Yeah.
And like she'd be watching TV, and then 16-year-olds would come in being like, we need you to ask if she got to the cock. And she'd be like, get the fuck away from me. We'd like, this is very important. Can you give us her name? We'll ask her. She goes, I'm not giving you my friend's name so she can ask if she got to the cock. And we go, well, someone's going to ask her. We'd offer her money. We go, what's going to take for us to ask her? And she'd just be like, leave me alone.
Do you think after 20 years, maybe we could find out?
Well, that would be a good thing right now. I was talking to the guy whose sister it is, and we have been floating the idea of opening her investigation.
Yeah, open it up. Let's reopen this cold case. Let's get this cold case open.
Anyways, that's all I have to say on that. I'm not here to draw conclusions. The investigation's still pending. We might put a tail on the sister's friend if we can get that contact. See if she's getting any other cocks, to see
if she's getting to those too.
See if she goes to a hotel with Mr. Basketball. There's a lot of things.
I mean, she's probably like 40 now.
Well, that's the thing. We ask her. Me and 10 of my friends show up at her door.
Yeah, she's got 2 kids. She's like playing with her husband and her dog. Hey, did you get to Robbie's cock?
We're all wearing detective uniforms. 7 guys. We all have
a bunch of gumshoes, being like, "So, did you get to the cock?"
We all have pens with pads. Who are you guys? We're so and so's sister's friends. You remember? She goes, "Who? You were friends with her."
It's in light of the Robbie Alomar development. We have some questions for you. Are you police?
He goes, "My wife's not home." He goes, "Okay, well, when she comes home,
can you just ask her?"
A quick question for her.
Did she get?
You go. We don't even say that. We go, listen. You just ask her, did she or did she not get to it? She'll know what she'll know what we're talking about. You probably won't need to say more than that.
Yeah,
She'll
that's
know
it.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
And then imagine she comes to the door. We just knock on the door. She opens it. Fuck, you found me. I got to it.
What took you so long?
What took you so
What
long?
took you so
What took you
long?
so long?
Smoking.
Between me and you, I got to it. Oh, I got to it.
Oh, I got to it.
Okay, so
that's funny.
anyways, that's
Yeah, I
it.
mean, in the '90s, I don't think you had really a choice to not get to it.
You think you're up in the hotel with Roberta with Mr.
If you
Baseball?
go up to the hotel with Roberto Alomar, I mean, again, like a lot of women will be like, women are naive and they don't realize that's what it is, and then guys are like, "What do you think you're going?"
You're saying that if you go up in the room with Mr. Baseball and you don't get to it, you become Mr. Thrown Out on the street without your clothes.
In 1990s, like Toronto, where it's like the Jays were actually like huge, 2 World Series.
Know what I should do is the South Park
she
go
got
dress
to
up
it.
like a woman and meet Mr. Baseball, meet Robbie Alomar
A big
at a bar,
sting.
do a big sting
Go down to
with the
Puerto
girl's
Rico.
outfit, and then wait for him to say the line. I guess I don't know what I'd be solving other than the fact that he said the line, which we already know. So I'm back to square one.
Yeah, we know he said the line. I guess the real question we'd be solving is, would Ryan get to the cocktail
Yeah,
as
yeah,
a
I
woman? Would he get to it?
It turns so based on my experience, extrapolating, I think she got to it.
Ryan, did you suck Robbie Alomar's dick? No,
but she probably
no,
did.
she probably did. I'm not gay.
I'm saying I felt compelled to though, so my guess was
Yeah.
I obviously resisted the urge to suck Mr. Baseball's dick. So there was moving on. There was you know the band The Misfits, right?
Yeah.
So there's a big uproar because I obviously follow the punk community still.
Yeah,
and,
they're like the one guy's a big conservative guy, right?
well, there's lots of
Jerry
people that
only?
No, I'm talking about Glenn Danzig.
Glenn
So
Danzig,
the
right.
story is, and there are.
He's the guy who replaced Danzig.
Okay, so there's a lot of people, there's like a guy from the Ramones and the Sex Pistols that's
yeah.
always getting in trouble because they have the wrong opinions or whatever. But it was an interesting fucking like shitstorm. So basically, Glenn Danzig basically said that his band wouldn't have been able to exist and punk wouldn't have been able to exist because of woke bullshit. That's the quote.
Yeah.
So as expected, the community
Woke mob.
Well,
The mob of woke people. As expected. They lit their fucking pitchforks on fire. Lit their torches.
But there was a lot of people being like, "You this fucking idiot," and then there was a lot of people that saying, he's old and he doesn't get it. And I was kind of looking at the whole thing, and it is sort of I feel like I think that he's wrong, and not wrong, but I kind of to dissect it. So he is right that band couldn't happen in this culture. I mean, the songs that he's talking about are literally about raping babies and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
they're
that's
like
the
all
kind of stuff.
monsters. They're all Halloween songs and stuff.
Right. But the other part that I thought, so every culture couldn't happen other than its time.
Of course.
Right? So you go, every subculture existed as a rebellion against to something, some specific thing, right?
Yeah.
But what I think it goes, and this kind of goes back to what I was talking about last week that I've been thinking a lot about again over the course of this week is, I was sort of saying the idea that with liberals, people like they cling on to these words, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, you kind of seeing that with Danzig, and he's always talking about what's punk and what's not punk, but they are right that like he doesn't own punk anymore, and that's what it is now. And if he came out now being like a rebellious whatever guy that goes against his trends, he wouldn't have been. The correct answer is if he came out
punk's
now,
like a
he wouldn't have been punk.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been punk.
Like you would have been something else right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He would have been Kid Rock. He would have
been doing some other version of that. Like most of the people that are fucking stirring shit up and being rebellious aren't in that subculture.
He would have been like a
because it is a
podcaster.
very self-policed like subculture, like any other one.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a pretty woke. Like punk's super woke right now, right?
right, and this is kind of what was making me think about all this stuff, is the idea that my ride's here. The police, the siren. That's the oldest hack joke in the book. But if you go,
Pretty sure it was a fire truck.
if really is, and people talk a lot about the identity politics and all that stuff, but really, if you control people's identities, you get to control what they do because the cost to people is so high for them to change their identity.
Oh, it's huge.
Exactly, right? So it's probably the strongest, like it really probably is the strongest way to control people ever. I mean, anyone that's punk, that considers himself that's my identity. I've got the jacket on. They go, well, we think this now, or you're not punk.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
which
if you're a
is probably
comedian-
how punk used to be too. It's like they just had a set of ideals, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that, and there's always different ones. Like there was him and there's other versions of it. So I'm going to read a little bit of the article, but it really boils down to why you want to fucking you got to be able to keep your identity fluid or else people fucking control you.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So they said the song Last Caress, whose notorious lyrics feature boastful lyrics, references to rape and killing babies as an example of something that would perhaps not fly nowadays. And he said, we would just do things to piss people off, which is like, so much of stuff. And they go, for Danzig, to imply otherwise does nothing more than single how out of touch he is. But even if you want to overlook the countless bands toiling away in basements and house shows at super spreader events at Tompkins Square Park these days, these events these days to focus solely on the past. Punk has always been a scene that self-polices. And I think that's probably the boiling point of what, people are against that are against this stuff is like, yeah, they're against the idea of just everyone constantly, controlling people through, self-policing. It's like the guy, you could talk about in a relationship, like a guy that just constantly policing is, where it's funny.
Well, didn't Punk kind of start off as like, there's like no rules at all? Like, isn't that kind of the original?
Yeah. I mean, they all sort of have the rules.
Fluid like that.
Look at right now. And if you took it like, let's say that the fucking, woke shit got out of control. Right. Mm-hmm. And then you have, the other way where it's like, there's this other thing and you go, this stuff's crazy. And then you also see the internet starting to make rules about like, if you're against woke stuff, like you have to think this. Well, why don't you? Like even the original thing fucking self-polices. And then the thing that's railing against that, like self-polices. And then there'll be a new thing. Like every fucking thing ultimately self-polices, but some of them do it to the point where most creative thinkers leave. And I think that's where you can see it in countries, you can see it in companies.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of people who fucking like with, what you're saying with the woke stuff where they're like, you have to be like this. And then they're like, I don't want to be like that. And then they just ended up with a MAGA hat on. And you're like, so you weren't that either though. You're like, you weren't that. And you're like, they just couldn't like understand that there could be somewhere like not one of these two binaries.
Because then you're constantly fighting some battle, right? And you don't have
and they just, exactly.
Structure.
They were like, I need to be fighting always, and so I guess I got to pick a side.
Yeah, and you were like 3 months ago, you were like a Bernie bro. Now
you were a Bernie bro. Now you're wearing a MAGA hat, and you're like, how'd that happen? They're like, well, I don't like the woke left, and you're like, okay, well, this wasn't the only alternative is putting this hat on.
Yeah, you don't have. Yeah, so I think that.
But that happened a lot.
And then once you get the hat on, they say, well, if you like Trump, then you have to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
But everything, it's like it's so. I mean, you do your chickie. Well, if you want to be my boyfriend, or if you want to be my girlfriend, if you want to be my girlfriend, Ryan's girlfriends do this. So if you'd like that to be your identity,
yeah, exactly. If you're a girlfriend of Ryan's,
I mean, if you don't want that title, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
But if you're looking for the title of Ryan's girlfriend, there's like a list of things that traditionally they do. I mean, if you don't want to be that, you don't have to call yourself that. That's up to you.
But if you do want to call yourself that, it's a pretty tight schedule. You get up at 5:45 every day. We get you to work
and then leave.
Do your chores. Clean
It's
up.
a pretty tight schedule. You get up at 5:45 every morning and leave back to your house.
Don't disturb me.
It's pretty tough being my thing, You get up really early, you call yourself a cab, go home. So, but they all evolve, and it goes back to the thing with the companies too, and countries where the people left in it in movements were a lot of times not the people that created it. You know what I mean? And there were some so to go through once there was a rebellious spirit or whatever. But honestly, I've always said that subculture was a little more of a movement that was unified, whereas rock and roll was more about free thinking. And not about free thinking, but more in the way that like there was a little more, even if you take a guy like Marilyn Manson or something, I feel like he was fairly intellectual in a way that wasn't, part of a movement. And there obviously is like bits of rock and roll and punk and all this stuff. But this is what Alice Cooper said, and I thought that was interesting. He said, when musicians are telling people who to vote for, I think that's an abuse of power. You're telling your fans not to think for themselves and just to think like you. And rock and roll should be about freedom, and that's not freedom.
Yeah, I agree.
So these people are all sort of arguing about what these words mean. And so he's right that what he did couldn't have been called punk, but it would just be something else.
It would be something
else. He
else.
would hate those people.
Like all those things are like, you can't have rock and roll without Elvis, and you can't have Elvis without whatever blues. It's like everybody is like a chain in the link, and if they didn't exist, like the I don't know.
It would just
it would be different,
it
or
would just be different.
someone would have taken that spot.
Someone else would have taken that spot. I mean, if you look at metal, there's a ton of bands that are fucking, saying the most heinous shit still.
I mean, look at fucking hip hop. It started as they're like a dooba dabba dooba dooba, like it started as like the lamest shit. It's like, and we are friends and we play around, and now it's like
fuck your bitch,
it's like,
whatever.
and then it's like fucking
rob a house,
and then it's like
rob a house and fuck someone's girlfriend, cheat on my girlfriend doing some coke.
Yeah, it's like, and then it's like Tekashi and stuff, and like,
Yeah, so they said what it should be about is providing a welcoming space for members of marginalized communities. And these are entire subgenres like queercore, which you said you're like that.
I'm big in queercore.
He's big into queercore. And Riot Girl, whose entire ethos would probably be described as woke by guys like Danzig. So do you think they're saying that fucking Danzig would probably think that even queercore is woke? But yeah,
imagine Danzig's like, don't even get me started on queercore.
Don't get Danzig started on those queercore.
You got a minute?
So, but you go, yeah. I mean, it became something else, and you guys sort of operate in that space. And I've been involved in that world my whole life. And that's why I said, I go, you forget how many people, like, especially touring in music, more so music than comedy or anything else I've experienced. Do you know how many fucking singers think their fans are fucking losers?
Yeah.
Like so many bands I've toured with that like they do the signings and everything and they're like, ugh, these fucking
right, yeah. They're like, we don't have cool
yeah,
fans.
and a lot of times they are. You know what I mean? Because like they created some movement and then they hate what it became.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. You're like, I didn't get into this, like, especially when they start taking on causes and you're like, if you don't care about any of that stuff.
Yeah, imagine you.
And then you're being forced by your fans being like, why won't you take a position on this matter?
Exactly.
And you're like, I don't care. I never did.
And you go, we care now and we're your fans.
Yeah, and you go, fuck.
Okay, well, I think I'm out. Imagine Insane Clown Posse if you weren't just about making money and you went to the Juggalo March, you go, what did we do? What the fuck did we create?
Yeah,
here?
exactly. Like they have to really be into.
Do you think
shit.
that? Yeah, I don't think they do, but like someone like that.
You think like they're like it would be so funny if like backstage they just pull up their paint, they're
yeah,
drinking Pepsi.
Yeah, these fucking
like they don't
losers.
even drink Faygo backstage. They drink all brand name shit.
Yeah. So they said Dead Kennedys released the song Nazi Punks Fuck Off. But I mean, they were talking about real Nazis, not Danny,
Yeah.
and yes, the Sex Pistols were probably getting away with wearing swastikas for shock value, but they caught heat from their peers from it back then. Well, not the heat that they would have caught now. That's for fucking damn sure.
It's like a little write-up in like a magazine or something.
Yeah, I mean, so I go with these people. I go, why wouldn't it's like no one wants to, like Danzig should just be like, yeah, that punk, you're right, that became a different thing, but I wouldn't have been that. But these guys, it's like, why won't they give up? Like, we're actually still the same punks as before.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they turned into something
you're
different.
65.
Fine, whatever. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Just admit that. Be like, yeah, we don't agree with old punks as much. Like Danzig,
Yeah,
we're this new thing, and we own the patent on the word. And you go, fine. At least it's a more honest argument.
Music is a young man's game anyway, so it's like whoever's the young people kind of in that movement. It's like
exactly.
they get to determine it, just like you got to.
So the idea that Misfits would have been canceled if they released Last Caress today also falsely assumed that music fans are incapable of reading a song's intent. Danzig's lyrics have also been goofy and over the top, and he admits that Last Caress was just an attempt at shock. I mean, yeah, let's.
Were they like literally like a shock horror band?
Yeah, but I go. Let's throw a new band's rape lyrics out there to like a bunch of PC punks, and then go. See if they but his intent. Yeah. You go come on. Look me in the eyes and you think those people would like a song about rape, and I'll show you why they wouldn't. But it's the same thing. I go, even when they're thinking, I go, what's a big punk band? Remember when there was some big punk bands that were really huge? Name me one. What's the biggest punk band right now that's not 20 years old?
No idea.
Okay, exactly. Because it became a little subset of a culture the same way jazz is.
Yeah.
There's huge jazz people. There's not now. Maybe there's some big one if you follow that. Same as anything.
I mean, everything has its, it has its moment.
Yeah, and once the moment's over, all of the innovators leave, just like an industry, just like anything.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it's left with the hall monitors.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's just like the real diehards who have become this kind of monolithic.
I think so.
Yeah.
So Danzig's comments just hammer home that he's completely disengaged with the punk scene. Yeah, he is definitely completely disengaged with it. And he would have just been something else. So this is just a quick article I'm going to show, but this is the same people. And this is an article that came out a month ago. And I actually noticed it. And I just thought it related to this. They said, here's why people are mad at this viral pop punk band, the Tramp Stamps. And so first of all, this band sucks balls.
Yeah.
It's some girl band, but this is just to relate to that comment where they go, I think the fans would understand that, that he's just, so this is what they said. They go,
This is the tramp stamps about Glenn Danzig.
but this is why the tramp stamps got canceled. They were like blowing up and they got canceled and they wrote an article about canceling them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I'm just like saying,
So a group of punks
chicks
got canceled.
This Nashville trio was accused of everything from being industry plants, racism, co-opting feminism for PR, and working with Dr. Luke. Remember when we had the Tinder profiles, Dr. Luke, Bill Cosby, and Jungo Meshi? They go, the internet backlash for the past few weeks to their latest single, I Would Rather Die, is so severe. And these guys are pretty in the doghouse right now, too.
And these are chicks.
They just, everything they post gets like, quote, ratioed on Twitter from everyone yelling at them. I'd Rather Die is so severe, it eclipses whatever positive momentum the group had previously had. The controversy has everything. Allegations of the tramp stamps being industry plants, allegations of problematic lyrics. They promote rape culture. Rumors the band is affiliated with controversial producer, Dr. Luke. So rumors that he
just a rumor of
so
affiliation.
Let me just tell you what their song's called. Their main song that they got popular, it goes, I'd rather die than hook up with another straight white guy.
I was going to say, because you're like...
I relate to that, though, because I'd rather die
than hook up with another...
also a straight white guy, but just any guy.
That was because you were saying earlier, like, oh, you could never like do a song about rape. And I'm like, you could if it was a chick raping a guy.
No. Well, my friend, do I have the next sentence for you?
There we go.
But before that, they're kind of saying that, the first thing they said, they're industry planned, and you go, yeah, you're right. Like this movement, everyone can see that the only thing that people in this movement like is, say the straight white guys suck or whatever. So then they do it and they go, but do they really mean that? Do they really hate straight white guys?
Wait, your boss is a straight white guy. What's going on here?
They have suspicions that they don't hate straight white guys. I love the
industry plant.
Industry plant.
So funny because you're like
pop punk industry.
Well, also you're like, wait, are you just realizing that like music's a business? And, like,
right.
Yeah, sometimes they do that stuff.
Yeah, that's funny too. But also, it's everyone always accuses everyone of being an industry plant. Anytime any like edgy guy on the internet's not like the slightest bit not based, they're like, he's working with Mossad.
Right, of course.
But they go, I don't know how you think we're gonna fuck. This is a lyric. When you can't get it up. There's a song written for you. Mm-hmm. I'm sick of hearing it's the alcohol, which is soon followed up by, I'm just saying it's not fair to leave me hanging like this. And the quote, the thing that went viral against them, it's not a hot girl boss move or a punk move to sing about pressuring people to have sex with you when they don't want to, or they were unable to consent because they're on alcohol.
On alcohol?
Yeah. So basically, if a girl says, fucking that shit, you get it up, you go, are you fucking?
Chill, Cosby.
Yeah, chill, Cosby. So basically,
I can't right now.
But I go, that's the thing. I go, so she's saying, oh, this fucking, and then they go, and it's the same kind of people that will say, no, the people can tell the difference. And you go, okay, what am I?
I mean, the only thing I would say is at least they're consistent, because they would have been blamed as being inconsistent and like picking and choosing at one point.
Well, their whole life is picking their opinions. That's what I'm exactly.
But I'm saying, but at least they're applying it equally. It's so ludicrous to apply it equally this way.
Right.
But at least because a lot of the times the conservatives are like, oh, well, they could say this, we can't say this, and then blah, blah, blah. At least they're applying it consistently. It just like makes them look even dumber when they do that.
Is one even better than
the
other?
It's not.
It's just, they look at it and they go, okay, what's the thing we think here?
Yeah.
What's the proper take? And then they put it out there and someone gets in trouble. They go, okay, we don't do that one.
Right.
Okay, so when a guy's drunk, we don't have sex. So no drunk people should have sex now.
No.
No drunk sex.
No drunk sex.
So no sex, basically.
Basically no sex. Correct.
But Alex Byron sent me this, and it was an article specifically geared towards you. Uh-huh. So this is Men's Health. Do you ever follow Men's Health?
I don't.
Okay, so this is just what Men's Health is up to.
Yeah.
I thought they're doing some really important work.
I bet.
So Men's Health, it says, so you're feeling a little bi-curious. We're here to help. And it's a guide to how to get, be
gay.
Yeah, a guide to how to transition into gay from just thinking about it like you do.
Just being bi-curious.
That's so funny because it's like, just the fact that it's Men's Health, like you literally, it's like, okay, here's 10 tricep workouts. Here's how to be gay.
It's so funny because it's it's kind of there are these monthly magazines, and they're like, there's just not enough stuff to put in. So someone's like, well, what about an article about?
Do you think it's that simple, or do you think that they're, someone, the thing is like, hey, we gotta, get on this train.
We got to make these people gay? Maybe.
No, I don't think they care.
I mean, a lot of the meatheads who I see, that's the thing. I don't know who reads Men's Health anymore, because like real meatheads at the gym, they don't read.
What do they read? You
They're
think?
all on forums.
My
and,
dad
like,
used to read Men's Health. Big
yeah,
Men's
like
Health.
a while ago, but now they're just all on like forums and stuff and online. It's like they would never read that.
So
stuff.
this is a last ditch effort from these magazines.
This is the death rattle.
This is the death
You're
rattle.
witnessing the death rattle of it's a. I mean, it's a magazine.
It really is.
How many
legit.
magazines do you ever buy?
Well, I'm sure
anymore?
they have online as well and all that stuff. But you're right. It is the last ditch effort of a magazine being like, okay, with the tricep thing bombed, the supplement article bombed. It's like, okay, I've got a fucking radical idea here.
Yeah, well, providing workout advice is like before it actually used to be valuable. Now they do a little thing. There's like a million things online. What do we need you for?
The guy that wrote this article was playing hooky at work, and then his boss got mad because he wasn't there for a week, walked in on him sucking a dick, and he had to assure him, I'm doing research.
Yeah, I'm doing research. This is for the article.
And then he had to write the article because otherwise he was going to get in trouble. So after years of wondering if I could be intimate with another man, I decided to hook up with a dude my freshman year of college.
Sick.
I had a buddy that was actually in a band, and one time when we were on tour, he everyone was like drinking, and he was like, yeah, obviously, it's one thing if like hooking up with a guy in college, like, everyone does that. And all of us were like, excuse me. And none of us ever let him hear the end of it. It's like such a thing people talk about. This guy's like the straightest guy. He had like a kid and stuff. And then he was like, and like, I guess he obviously knew this wasn't going to go over, but he wanted to slip it in like that.
Yeah.
Like if he just said, hey, like I came out of the closet and whatever, but he was like, I just fucking dude shit, hooking up with a dude in college, and everyone's like, I'm big. Excuse me.
Hey, what?
After the experience, I could not tell you if I was gay or bi. Want to solve that riddle for him?
Gay. I don't know. Yeah.
No, but he says after he hooked up with the dude, he
Did you
wasn't
like
sure
it?
He wasn't sure.
How
if he was
much did
gay
you
or
like
bi.
it? How much cum was on your face? That's a good idea.
He said, the thing is, I went about hooking up with the guy all wrong. I had expectations of what I should feel, still struggled with internalized homophobia. Well, you do it. You said you got rid of it, but like you do like quitting smoking.
I just fucked.
But you
my
just
way
fucking
out of it.
full pack.
It was like when your parents make you smoke the whole carton. I was the carton.
Danny just fucked a full bathhouse and got it out of his system. That did him in for another month.
You ever think that's ever happened where a parent catches a kid being gay and then they're like, "Oh, you're gay, huh? You want to be gay, huh? Well, I'll show you gay," and take him to a bathhouse and like.
That's the old Rouse joke. He goes,
"Oh, dude.
My dad caught me smoking, so he brought us Jason Rouse. He brought us backstage and made us suck his cock backyard." And he goes, so it's funny because his I'm not gonna do too much of this article, but basically he says he gives a list of what you have to do, but it's so just like, one, start with porn. So you go start with gay porn.
Yeah.
2, move to the apps and chat rooms. Like and then 3, maybe try a bisexual male female threesome first. So it's the whole art. It's just like tips on how to ease your way into being gay that anyone could have.
Yeah, it's like obviously pretty logical. Like
Yeah.
like it's like tips on swimming. Put your foot in.
Yeah.
Touch the water. Put your foot in. Splash
like
some on your face.
But he goes, have a bisexual male female threesome. Well, going back to straight again because there's nothing fucking gay about that.
If anything, you're more straight now.
Yeah, it's two fucking bros.
You've gone too far.
2 bros chilling, giving each other props. Although I knew this chick, and she said she just did with 2 guys, and they were all drama kids. All of them were like in a play together, and they were in this play, and they lived in a hotel together in a play.
Okay.
And the 2 guys were bisexual, and I was like, that was the first time I ever was like, that is a scenario where like, because usually it's like 2 dudes double teaming a chick.
Yeah.
But that is a scenario where I was like, oh yeah, I don't know who the dominant was in this scenario.
No, it's like it might have been the girl.
It was like band camp shit.
Right. Yeah.
It had a different
different
vibe to it, that's for sure.
Those drama kids.
And she goes, now with the help of 2 sexuality experts, I'm going to impart what I wish I knew before I'd done. Oh, that's what I said. But yeah, so he goes, because we live in a culture that has negative perspectives on bisexuality and same-sex attraction, it's important to gain exposure to alternative perspectives. Danny gave exposure in the fucking, but it's not that people have a fucking problem with anyone that's bisexual. It's just when you're a guy that's bisexual, everyone suspects that you're actually gay. And when you're a girl that's bisexual, everyone suspects you're actually straight.
Yes.
And a lot of the times that's correct.
Yes.
So it's like, it's not that people are like, ew, a bi.
It's more the case that it's correct, for sure.
Yeah. So it's not that people go, oh, disgusting, you're a bisexual. I mean, some people probably do, but I'm saying, whatever, your average person probably doesn't give a shit.
No, they don't.
They definitely don't give a shit more than being gay or anything. They just suspect that you're not.
Yeah, they go, exactly. They're like, you're trying to ease everybody into this. Just tell us you're
and that's
gay. We
happened
don't
1,000
care.
times.
We don't care anymore.
So I thought that's, but yeah, so men's health is.
That would be actually the worst if you had like a kid and he came out as bi and you're like, okay.
Yeah, it would be like, you're gay.
Sure. You'd be like, okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it, but just, yeah, it's just,
I'm sure that's happened a million times. Then they come out. Yeah, but a girl, like if your daughter came out as bi and then you're
oh my
like,
God.
okay.
That's the one.
All
where
right,
that would be, especially.
I'll talk to you when you come ask me to pay for your wedding to a man. I'm
yeah,
sure.
like it's, especially if that's like, this, you're kind of on the pulse of things. Like this year, last year, like a 20-year-old daughter comes out as bi and you go, okay.
Bi pride's so funny. That's what I put in that sketch. It's like, do you want to be one of those people celebrating bi pride? You got to go full gay if you want the benefits. I think what the problem with when people say that there's like biphobia, a lot of it is that
Just
they're
don't
not
believe
getting.
you.
Well, yeah, but yes, for sure, that's what we were saying. But the reason why it bothers them is because they're not getting their full benefit package of being
Right.
under
Yeah.
like they're people kind of go, oh, whatever. You go, you don't get it. It's hard for me. I had to come out of the closet, and everyone's like, it wasn't hard for you, and they go, I'm a victim.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're not getting their
I
full
want-
benefit package of being marginalized.
Totally. That I agree with 100%.
So, just to like, and I saw another tweet, a couple tweets that went viral that related to this, that to prove my point. I saw this was so funny. So there's an article, and there's this thing called Pink News, right?
Oh yeah, I'm well aware of pink.
Yeah,
news.
and they had these tweets, and it's lesbians who love dick. And the person said, hi, I'm a lesbian and I love dick. And there's nothing wrong with that. Centering lesbian around pussy is so fucking othering to trans and non-binary lesbians. Jesus fucking Christ. They're always really revved up. And there's
Yeah,
always 10 comments, say it again for the people in the back.
Right, yeah.
Oh,
All the
fucking-
clap, like that one word clap, one word
Yeah,
clap. Like
they all sort of appropriated like black church lady, like,
yeah, totally.
you said it, sister.
Preach.
Yeah, it's preach. It's all the versions of preaching.
They got the snake out.
And then, the second one goes, agreed. I love dick, and I'm a lesbian. I just don't like when that dick is attached to a cis man. But girl dick and non-binary dick is totally
I
fine.
love non-binary dick. Have you seen all the Caitlyn Jenner stuff?
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. And that dick is totally fine, and I don't think that makes me less of a lesbian. Yeah, I personally love the Caitlyn Jenner stuff because it just fucking puts everyone in such a tizzy.
Oh, it puts them in the fucking spin cycle.
Puts them in the spin cycle.
Oh yeah.
You've probably seen 1,000 of the back-to-back tweets the same way that they do with like with everything that they change their opinion on. The immigration or the kids in cages or whatever. But it's literally like Caitlyn Jenner is the bravest, smartest, the most brilliant mind of our generation. And then the next one's like, she's a fucking bitch.
Yeah, Vera's a fucking bitch.
Stupid bitch.
She really is a fucking straight white woman, huh? Like that's how they have to approach it.
Yeah. But I just like those because they're just like the intersectional.
I mean, yeah,
crashes.
exactly. They like the sports one was great because she comes out and she says, biological men should not be able to compete with women, and this is coming from one of the greatest biological male athletes of all time, who's now a woman.
Yeah, it must
like
drive
so.
them
It's like
fucking
if
bonkers.
anybody has a fucking point to make about this. Like you'd think
he's the only trans athlete that maybe could have made it
She,
work.
Ryan.
She's the only trans athlete that maybe could have made it work.
What are you talking about? If Caitlyn Jenner was Bruce when he was 25,
Oh, no, I guess it's the other way
I'm a
around,
woman
sorry.
now. I'm gonna go compete. Be like currently hold world records in every single one of those things.
Yeah, I was doing it the other
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
around. I'm an
It's
idiot.
like, of course.
Yeah, that's my hot take.
Like his whole-
he'd probably be able to compete in the women's
you'd
category.
probably be okay. You do all right.
That's my
Fucking
hot take.
decathlon winner. You do all right.
Yeah, but there's
But it's like he's like a Trump-loving conservative. So it's
I'm
like,
for no gendered categories, period. I think that's the only solution. I think that's what everyone should move towards and never hear about this conversation again. Gendered categories are gone. End of story.
Yeah.
Moving on. And then they have to play defense where we're like, we want our own league. We're like, we tried this. It was racist.
Yeah, we tried this. It was super transphobic.
Yeah, we're
to have
done with all that stuff. So
Yeah. That's the thing too. It's been said, but watching people who are like have to kind of navigate the whole like, yeah, you know, they belong in sports. You're like, but the logical conclusion is this is going to hurt women, like sports overall.
So there are some
obviously.
good things about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where it's almost like obvious, and you go, okay, go argue about it or whatever.
Sure.
I guess you can say that if you're like someone that has a daughter or whatever.
Yeah, it's people who have a daughter. Like, imagine you have a daughter who plays like softball or like track, and that's her whole life, and your whole life is fucking schlepping her around for these meets and everything, and it's costing you like $50,000 a year, and then all of a sudden, just like some kid who used to be a guy shows up and just destroys your daughter. She can't get a scholarship. She just lost her scholarship now because that one spot went to that. And you're like, of course you're upset about it.
This is one where I don't know a single fucking like dude that honestly would argue this is a good idea. So it's like,
I mean, my position on it is I'm like, I didn't care about women's sports before. You're not going to get me to start caring now.
yeah,
you can fucking.
But yeah,
you do whatever.
But that's what I mean. I go,
you leave the male sports alone, and I'm fine with it.
But that's what I mean. So many people could have intellectual debates about this. And, you know, and go, well, actually, and you could have, you know, all day long, you could have hour-long debates on news stations and, you know, whatever. You could have a hour-long debate on the Daily Wire. None of that does probably as much for fucking stopping this as this Caitlyn Jenner business.
Of course. Well, like if there was one marginal player on like the PGA Tour right now who decided that they were going to go trans and become a female golfer, they would be Tiger Woods.
Someone needs to do that.
Tomorrow.
Pull a Zuby and do it.
But not even, I'm not even saying
Why don't they? Why hasn't anyone done it yet?
I'm not saying, well, because I don't think there is that many trans people.
Also, people would be really mad at you.
No. I'm not talking
if they
like,
found out you're a hoe.
Oh, if you find it, like if it's a ladybug scenario. Yeah, that won't work. That's such a crazy movie. I remember like seeing that on TV like 3 years ago when I was in Toronto. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, so they basically make the people go
So it's
girls,
Rodney
right?
Dangerfield is the coach of a girls soccer team, and then he's trying to like bang some chick and gets his grandson to dress up as a girl to play on the team and like win, but all the like I think fuck some chick.
Yeah.
That's the whole premise. You're like, it's a kids movie. It's a total kids movie with Rodney Dangerfield, like notorious pussy hound. And then like all these people were like, I think recently too came out and they said like working on it was like crazy. He would just have like chicks going in his trailer all the time.
Come on.
Oh yeah. He was a crazy pussy hound.
He's a gross looking guy.
Yeah.
To fuck.
Oh yeah. But he was getting it in there when he was like 70.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He got it late in life. So he went full all in.
He went full.
The guys, I find that the people that get popular late in life, they become the most pussy hounds where they're just on tour like every night. They're trying to because they couldn't get it before. Making up for lost time. Yeah. Well, he says other things when you're going through your becoming gay journey, Danny. He says realize that you might not have a aha moment because he was
more like a oh moment.
Because he said he was making out with, you know, his guy or whatever, and he thought it was going to be like, la da 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 da, ga 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 ga. But he didn't experience that. But I like the idea. Realizing you might not have a aha moment, like, you know, when you know you're gay, like for example, doing makeup tutorials, it might be an aha moment. Like when you laugh at girls' stories.
Imagine you're like just a normal meat and potatoes gay guy, and then you're making out with this dude who's like can't figure. And he goes, "I'm gay," and you go. Yeah, okay. I'm gay. And go, I'm pretty sure. I was hoping you are.
Yeah, I figured when you
would.
when you took your clothes
off. It's a pretty
off.
gay thing we're doing right now.
Yeah, we're doing all gay.
He goes, I know, I'm gay.
I'm gay.
I'm gay.
I don't care who knows it. I'm gay. I'm gay. I'm gay. I don't care who knows it.
And it's in New York City, and then someone's just like, "Shut the fuck up!"
yeah. Watching RuPaul's Drag Race, that would be a good aha moment.
Yeah.
Dick in your butt, perhaps.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh. So you're lying on the bed. You're still not sure if you're gay, and then it goes, Oh, fuck. He says, talk to a therapist. That's another thing he recommends. So he goes, go to the gay bars, talk to a therapist. Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, that might do it.
I feel like I want to blow guys. I mean, therapists are so fucking useless, dude. I really, honestly don't recommend
literally
talking
my
to a
girlfriend.
therapist.
Literally, my girlfriend's a therapist.
Well, that's just because you're Jewish and you didn't want to spend the money, so you figured the ultimate life hack.
No, I don't know.
No,
No, I'm saying for her clients.
get high on
dude,
my-
her clients, she literally like.
you don't get high on your own supply.
No. But she's like, yeah, they pay me to talk to them.
I think it's better for girls, but that's my theory.
Yeah, she has male clients too. Though.
I think. Well, you tell me you're wrong, and this is obviously touching a nerve because it's personal. I think for dudes,
No, I think it's.
that should be an
I don't have a
option
therapist.
down the line. I think that for fucking dudes, listening to Tim Ferriss for a year will probably do more for fucking getting your life together.
Yeah,
than
but
therapy ever
a lot
could.
of people have different things. Like some people are like straight up, they like we know a comic who's like got raped as you were a kid. It's like Tim Ferriss is probably not helping you out.
Yeah, but that's not what most people go to
No,
therapy for.
no. Most people are like, I'm
sad.
I'm sad. I'm not good in my relationships keep failing.
Yeah, most people are like, I got drunk again last night. And
Why?
partied till 5 a.m. and I quit my job again. And
Yeah, they just
and
they just need like a mom. They
They
need like another parent.
yeah.
They just need.
So okay, I'm not saying never go, but I'm saying it's better for girls because they pay someone to
Agreed.
chat their ear off.
Totally.
And most people that need therapy just need to get their fucking life together.
Yeah, for sure.
mean,
They just need Jordan.
I have an
Peterson.
idea for a sketch that, because just like normal shit that like most guys fucking probably listen to Rogan, but like the idea of a girl coming back to the house and then being like, yeah, it's just crazy. I'm so glad to meet a normal guy. I mean, last week, how guys lie to get girls. And it's like, I went to this guy and he was saying he listens to Joe Rogan. And then it's like, and the guy's like, what? Like the Fear Factor guy? Yeah, I know. And I'm like, what does he have like a podcast now or something? And then he's pushing the alpha brain off his night table.
Yeah,
And then she goes,
all
yeah.
this
And he
stuff.
is like fucking, he says he likes this Jordan Peterson guy.
Yeah. She's like, is that a crossbow? He goes, oh, what that?
Yeah, and then
I found it in the
he
garbage.
unmakes his bed.
Yeah, he's on mixing.
He takes down like a bar stool flag,
yeah,
like while the girl's watching.
Undo all this stuff.
Yeah. And it just gets like progressively more like she's saying more ridiculous.
He like opens the fridge, it's all White Claws. He's like, wine?
Yeah. So fucking, I thought that'd be kind of a funny thing, but and he says, you can try it and not like it and you're not straight. Well, we always had that song with the John Stones. It was a secret song. You're not gay till you slept with 10 guys. Now we're at 8. Still got that freebie. Did you see the all gay Navy crew?
No.
So they basically had a all gay Navy crew. And
Like in the literal Navy.
but they had like the 10 of them with a picture and they're all wearing rainbow stuff or whatever. And it was like,
Isn't that the whole thing? That the
go
Navy's
back to
gay?
the George Bush era where people were saying like they don't want gays in the army. It's going to be something. And then go show them the photo of like 10 guys and be like, blow their gas.
Well, the crazy thing is originally it was like the don't ask, don't tell. Well, first they were like, we need to know if you're gay. And then they're like, okay, we just don't want to know. And now they're like, we're gay.
I think it'd be funny though.
I mean, I guess it's
how much if you were
it'd
part
suck
of
to have to-
ISIS and you were getting raided by these guys and they were killing you, how much would you hate it if they were like flamboyantly gay with?
But that's the thing.
rainbows?
If anything,
The
for
gay platoon
if anything
took down
for America,
ISIS.
that's a bit of a flex. You go, watch out,
I know.
fucking ISIS. Like,
The gay platoon's
you
gonna
guys still
take you
fuck
down.
around. Not only are we going to come kill your ass, but we're going to get the gayest fucking group to kill your
The
ass.
gayest group's gonna fucking infiltrate.
Yeah, we're going to fucking put you down.
Couple more things, but before that, I do want to remind you that it is Sheath Underwear Week at Ryan Long Comedy. This is and if you guys don't know, we did the 2 videos this week with them, but it was the pouch for the balls and the underwear.
Yeah.
And the guy who does Sheath, and I don't think I ended up putting this in videos, but for anyone who doesn't know, he actually was in the army. And then he came back and he started a gay brothel. Then that didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
And then he basically started this underwear company. But he said,
Sorry, is the gay brothel thing for real? No.
no.
Okay. I was like, the way you said it, I was like, you didn't really crack it. I was like, I don't know him. So
He's like, there's only a few, like, I mean, if you watch podcasts, you probably see, sponsors pop up or whatever, but there's a few, I've talked to a lot of people and about doing stuff and then they'll go, okay, could you not touch this topic? Could you not do this? And you go, and you, most of the time you kind of just think it's not a good relationship because you go, well, moving forward, I'm not going to be doing this. And especially if you're doing weekly things, it's impossible to get approval. It's just not going to work.
Yeah.
Like maybe I have a video that is nothing or whatever, or not offensive. And then you go, okay, what about this? You know what I mean?
exactly. You just don't want
But you don't want to be in that where you don't want to be working with anyone who's like iffy about you anyway. You want someone like this guy and this guy or some other people that I work with. But he basically says he sponsors like all the bad people, and he says he gets all these complaints about people. He tells them to fuck off, basically.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So my point is,
Did you get any samples yet?
Yeah, I got samples. And the other thing that I like about these kind of products is that for a lot of things, it's very specific and people don't need it. Whereas like for underwear, certain things you're going to buy it anyway.
You need, and it's a pain in the ass sometimes to go get. Like,
right. So if you're going to buy it anyway, why not just use my fucking promo code?
I have a question for you. How many pairs of underwear do you have that have been like relegated into like the orphan section of your underwear drawer that you just like do you actively...
The section of the underwear that I took off an orphan?
You know, like, do you have underwear where you're like, I have it, I don't wear it?
So yesterday I had a pair of underwear I was wearing and I walked into the fucking room. My chick was there and she goes, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And there was a hole the size of a fucking softball at the bottom of the underwear. She goes, "Your fucking ass is hanging out."
Yeah.
I go, "Your ass is fucking hanging out." Well, I tried to do something sexy for...
There's actually fucking lingerie. These were $85.
Yeah, I tried to do
for these
something sexy
underwear.
for you. She's like, "What were you doing today?" Nothing. But yeah, no, I wreck a lot of underwear.
Yeah.
Socks is more, because I have...
But I'm saying I have so many socks where I'm just like, I have them, but they don't get any play.
No, you got to throw those out eventually. I've moved enough times in the last 2 years that a lot of that stuff kicked the bucket.
Yeah. When I moved to America, I threw out literally 3/4 of all my possessions.
Yeah, that's because you got too fat for them. But sheathunderwear.com, promo code Ryan Long, support the sponsors. So just a couple quick more things. Moving on is, so the Trump doing weddings thing. I saw this video and I've seen, I mean, you've probably seen them too or whatever, right? And a lot of people think it's sick. And we've talked about this before, the idea that if you are at Mar-a-Lago and Trump shows up, it's, probably the coolest thing.
Yeah, that's what you're hoping for.
That's what you're hoping for. But I saw a video of one. And it really doesn't look like that. It looks fucking like Led Zeppelin playing a bar mitzvah energy.
Oh.
Like it feels like he shouldn't be doing this. I know that because they're filming it and they put it online, and to everyone else, and I kind of get it.
You're saying it looks lame when you watch it.
It looks so lame.
Oh, of course.
Dude, it's literally the president who's kicked off all of social media in a fucking basement being like, and in Nebraska, they might have some extra votes
and
coming.
It's on like an Instagram live. Someone's like Instagram story.
He was saying that. He goes, and they're still looking for votes as we speak. And there might be some votes in Nebraska and blah, blah. And like someone's got to be like, hey, this isn't a good look.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, he's coming back.
I know, but it's legit. It's legitimately the guy in the NHL that was like the star of the NHL playing in the minor leagues, being like, next year is the year.
Yeah, he's at like a house league. He's at like a house league awards banquet, being like.
It had that look. I just thought it was really funny that he was actually talking about they might sign some votes, and maybe it was even out of context. Maybe he's joking, but he should stop doing those. It makes him look so lame.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. But maybe it's a financial thing.
I told you yesterday. Someone from this Rogers Fortune heiress chick was like in all this shit. She gave $2 million to Ryerson, and then all these people are like, I'm embarrassed like that I go to Ryerson and like that I'm an alum because this woman was seen with a photo with Trump, and everybody's like she's a racist. God. And like that's the thing. If you take a photo with Donald Trump, there is like a large amount of people who's like, you are a racist.
These people are out of their
crazy. Like, well, they'll go online to openly blast you for being a racist for just being in a photo with him.
Yeah, they're out of their fucking minds. Well, that's the world we're living in, folks, with these fucking libtards. But the one thing that to relate to our therapy conversation, and this is one last thing we'll talk about. In 2020, Pew Research study reveals that over half of white liberal women have been diagnosed with a mental health condition at some point. Does this mean there's a correlation between progressive ideas and mental health? So they
wasn't that Milo's thing? Liberalism is a mental disease, or no, this was feminism.
But they did this big study, and they found, and there's been a few of these, but basically that 40% of liberal women are like clinically depressed.
Okay, what about 40% of just women?
So women are more depressed than men.
Yeah,
but or at least according to this study, but the black women aren't as depressed.
Interesting.
Well, a lot of it boils down to, I mean, if there's probably so many factors.
They have it so good, so it's easier to get depressed, kind of thing. Like they have less of a reference point of anything bad.
Well, I think there's probably so many factors that you can't boil it down. So that's why I wanted to discuss. But I would say that, for one, people that are busier and have more shit to do are less depressed. You know that idea
For
where
sure.
black people always say like depression's like white people shit, like we have stuff to do or whatever, you know, we have to
Sure.
go to work.
Yeah.
So if you're let's say a chick living in New York that's white and you work 20 hours and your parents pay for your things, you have more time to like be depressed.
Absolutely.
And then on top of that, so the activism that they're doing, like if you're essentially like a super progressive activist yelling at someone, all of their activism is unachievable, right? You know, so their goal is so broad that it's unachievable. So they're never achieving anything that they're trying to achieve. So they're constantly like on a wheel.
And they're in this negative headspace where everything is negative,
Including
like nothing,
them.
But like nothing that's going on, like there's no positives in the world, only negatives.
There's only negatives. So that's got to be a negative thing. The more you make yourself a victim, that's like a proven way to...
Like they're literally like, you live in the greatest country in the world, in their mind they're like, I live in the worst country in the world.
I live in the fucking...
Literally,
pits of hell.
literally the worst country in the world.
Yeah.
If you ask these people, and they're like,
It's they'll go, and if you're dedicated to bringing other people down, that's a thing that if your life is dedicated to like getting other people in trouble, that's a thing that probably makes you depressed.
oh yeah,
Yeah, and
that's why all cops are depressed.
and most things, and most people that most things that make their life better, like even having fun, joking around, you know, certain events, certain TV shows, they hate them all.
Yeah.
So things that enrich your life, they probably have a problem.
Well, you
with
have
a
to
lot of it.
watch it with this, like, you have to watch everything with such a cynical, probably eye.
So,
because
yeah,
you're
I don't
always
think
looking-
it's
but you
a
know what you don't,
surprise
but you
by
don't,
any means,
you
but-
know what you don't have to watch with a cynical eye, Chad.
The ultimate show.
Chad's not offending anybody.
My police sketch
Except
that
for
I'm gonna do is
people who like comedy.
is the racist grammar police.
Yeah.
But it's like all the police are normal except for this one guy that's like, it's a hard ER, and they go, this guy. That's,
Yeah, we talked about it on the last podcast.
yeah. Okay, but they said it's a common tactic that politically charged on either side. It's and normally perceived as cheap. And normally perceived as a cheap one at that, to take a particular adherence of an ideology that equates to diehard worship to mental illness. Okay, so that's the Milo thing you just said. I was a complicated sentence that I barely could read. Need the grammar.
Well, there's just all the conservatives are like, liberalism is a mental
Right.
disease.
So that's
and
what
then
he's saying, yeah.
scientists actually are like, hey, so turns out.
Well, yeah. So, and then they said women are 40% more likely to develop depression than men due to lower levels of serotonin, but they don't act on it, right? Don't have the guts to finish the job on themselves. Due to lower levels of
Not
serotonin,
like men do.
we're also more likely to have anxiety and depression because of the deficiency. So there is also two parts to this, right? Okay, so we know people in the Toronto scene or in the New York scene who's, or whatever, and you're normal. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
People are everywhere.
People
are everywhere. That are super into this stuff and they're super depressed. And there's got to be a bit of a chicken and egg thing too, that probably this isn't taking into account, where you go, is there that many people that are super depressed that go the other way? Like if you are fucking like ultimate depressed, like hate yourself, like everything, you probably end up, you know, doing the social justice.
Yeah, it's because you're constantly aggrieved. It's like you're aggrieved with life because you're depressed.
Right,
and then
so it's a good place for
that
them.
is a good place for you to.
So you go, are fucking progressive people depressed, or depressed people, you know, end up fucking super.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think there's a bit of both. I think people are progressive, and I think the progressivism maybe makes them depressed.
I think it's a bit of, and it's a cycle, and there's probably lots in here. Yeah, so there's probably, and then on top of that, they're already girls, so they're already depressed because they don't even have a fucking dick.
Yeah.
I'd be depressed too.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if I woke up tomorrow and didn't have a dick, I'd be like, I'd be depressed too. I get it.
Yeah, there'd be a fucking dark cloud hanging over you.
Yeah,
for a
if you don't
while.
have a dick, it's hard to be,
It's hard to really get going.
hard to get going in the morning if you don't even have a fucking cock on you. Conditions like depression and anxiety thrive in silence, but there also seem to be a lack of confidence in women when it comes to knowing our own bodies. And instead, our mental problems are written off by being too overly emotional. Yeah, this article is sort of down the middle of just describing what it is, but it is funny even saying like, well, sometimes they just call women too emotional. It's like, okay, well then we say their serotonin's too low and acting up. It's like whatever the linguistics are, it's true.
Yes, of course.
And you go, well, they're born like that, and you go, okay,
Yeah, well, it's like we've been saying that forever. Yeah, I've been saying women are born that way forever.
right?
And then you told us like 5 years ago that was
They
wrong.
weren't.
They were. they weren't born
Isn't that so?
way.
Yeah, exactly, right?
It's
You go,
like-
which is it? You go, well, we're actually more emotional. Yeah. And you go, yeah, and that's why we didn't want you out
we've
when
known
me and my
that
friends
since-
were talking shit to each other.
Yeah, we've known that since time immemorial, and then they tried to fucking change the.
And then they go, well, we're actually exactly the same. And you go, okay, well, then you're being too emotional. Well, that's because of our bodies.
That's what we're saying.
Well, agree to agree.
Yeah.
The study, which examined white liberals, moderates, and conservatives, both male and female, found that conservatives were less likely to be diagnosed with mental health issues. Maybe because the girls and conservatives too. It's like they know not to fucking speak up.
Yeah, they like their role.
When we were in Virginia, we were just in Virginia Beach, and I was doing something about girls, and I was like, "What did they say?" And then the girl in the audience goes, "The old saying, the man's the head of the household." And I was like, Virginia Beach rules.
Yeah, totally.
And she had something, I can't remember the saying. She's like, man's the head of the household and the woman's there to prop him up or something like that. And I was just like, this doesn't sound like a saying as much as your boyfriend.
Right,
saying.
yeah, he's like
I was like,
forcing
everyone in the
you.
audience, I was like, you guys ever heard this? And she was like, no, this is Derek saying.
This is Derek's. Yeah,
Yeah, I was like,
a Virginia thing.
That was funny. I was like, yeah, I got to move to Virginia. What's more, white women suffer the worst. They're fucking victims, dude. White women between ages 18 to 29 who identified with liberal are given mental health diagnosis for medical prognosis at a rate of 56.3%, as opposed to 28%
So essentially the
in
least
moderates.
victimized race of all white women.
Yeah.
Like, because especially too, like at that age, if you have any sort of like if you're good looking or whatever, it's like you're basically like treated like a moderate celebrity.
Yeah.
Just that's how the world treats you. If you're a hot 25-year-old,
If you're a hot 25,
your life is like the same as someone who's like a B-list celebrity.
And if you have an Instagram account, you become like a moderate celebrity pretty quickly.
That's true,
too.
but I'm saying
Post
just
a couple
the
titties.
way the world treats, like, you guys are constantly coming. Granted, it's guys who are coming up to you, but it's like, you get free stuff. Like, you have this like lifestyle, and then
If
they're
you're a
still
hot
like,
chick.
I'm so depressed.
Well, the technical term for it was acutest Trump brainus fryitis.
Cute as Trumpus.
Acutest Trump brainus fryitis by Trumpus. It's almost done. They said when those raised to think reality is a subjective bump against their objective reality, there can be mental health consequences. So, I mean, that's kind of stuff we've probably been saying forever, but pretty good point. I mean, that's another one that we didn't mention there. But if you are someone who is living that world where you go, nothing's real, everything's fake or whatever, and then if then you encounter objective real truths.
Yeah.
Like, for example, men are less emotional or whatever. And then you have to go, not true. It's like,
Yeah, the world's wrong. I'm right. The world's wrong.
yeah, which there's mental consequences because your brain's under attack by its own ideologies interacting with reality.
Yeah, it's like your software is bad. Like your software doesn't work with the hardware, essentially.
Danny has software. I've got hardware. Progressivism demands equality for all and keeps score to an exhausting, unattainable degree. Agreed. We should be having the difficult conversation that requires. But if you take a quick look at the state of our political discourse, we might not be ready for it. So I think it's very true. If you see that even in yourself, where you go, anytime you're doing a goal that's too vague, I think the most times I've been unhappy is when what I wanted was way too vague.
Yeah.
Like you have to break it down into smaller parts and they have to be attainable. You can't go 2 months
That's
without
like
moving
life
forward.
coaching, like
It's
101.
life coaching
Like
101.
Zig Ziglar and even Peterson, all those people, Tony Robbins are all like, you can't.
What a name, Zig Ziglar.
That's the best one. But it's like you can't hit a target that you don't have.
And I agree with that. For me specifically, the most times that I was fucking lost to any
for
degree,
sure. Is you have no set goal.
I didn't know where I was going.
Yeah.
And the problem people get in when they don't know where they're going is they just don't go anywhere.
Yeah,
So it's like you have to
and
move in
now
some
decision
direction
paralysis.
because your decision paralysis. You have to
I
move
make
in
fun-
some direction, but you've got to do like little bursts where you go, let's try this for 2 weeks, then reevaluate. And that's the way, but it's hard to teach that. That's why I really liked, we kind of even just go back to the subculture conversation. I really liked that fucking, I mean, you kind of probably were the one that maybe even introduced me to the Tim Ferriss and those guys.
Yeah, I was
think that was you that showed me the
Yeah, I was
4 Hour Work
the
Week,
OG Tim Ferriss guy.
You were the OG. Yeah, you were the OG Tim Ferriss guy. You're like,
I remember hearing about it in like 2000. I want to say like 11.
yeah, you knew when the 4 Hour Work
Brian
Week came out,
no, it was Brian Callen on Rogan. But this was like I think 2000 because I remember I was driving up to North Bay
yeah.
when I was dating that one girl or whatever.
Interesting,
listening to
but
it.
I remember seeing a lot of stuff for that because I read Robert Greene and stuff, and I remember seeing all the advertisements for the 4-hour work week and kind of seeing it pop up. But and I don't really pay that much attention to them anymore because I think I've moved on to my own sort of ideology, which
he
is
gets the odd good
guess.
guess.
People, I listen to the odd good guess, but what those guys, I think, if there's anything to take the best people, and I think maybe Peterson's is for people, but the best thing to think of is to train like a way to think.
Yeah.
And that's when university's at its best. It's training you how to fucking
There's
problem solve.
a lot of
It's a different way of thinking. You don't, but let me just finish that one thought. Is the thing that if I was to put my finger on it, it gave you permission to not feel guilty about things that society tells you you're not supposed to do. Here would be a perfect example. If you have a busy life and you have a girlfriend and you have like kids, or you have a job and you have goals, whatever those things are, you need to say, how much time am I going to spend with my girlfriend? Like maybe I'll spend, okay, what if I slot her in from this time to this? You know what? I'll decide to hang out with my friends once a week. And then the like world is telling you that's an insane way to look at the world. Like you're trying to be a robot, like you're treating your friends like commodities.
And scheduling them.
But unfortunately, if you want to accomplish anything great, you have to. And he's like, no, you have to think of it like that. And I feel like that way of like, oh yeah, you're right. Everyone's always going to be telling you the wrong thing. And
everybody's
that was
for
the
sure.
thing
And
that
everybody
opened me
always
up to
has their ideas of how things should be, and are like when your ideas don't mesh with theirs, they're gonna be like you're wrong.
Yeah, and should be isn't always what works.
Well, it's not always what works, and there's also no such thing as that.
There is no such.
There's no such thing as how you should exactly live your life. I mean, I guess religion is the closest like written down framework, and a lot of people would be like, "That's fucking."
But
nonsense.
even then, even in the framework of religion, it's like that's a list of ways to still kind of enable you to probably live the best life that you still have to make all those decisions.
I mean,
what that means.
Religion's the OG of them. People like, I need some sort of direction of how to live my life, and they go, here you go.
Yeah, I probably give some people, like a lot of things probably give people structure when they're really but I still have to put that in the category that I used to say some of my, some of the early Tony Robbins I didn't like because it was how to just get your life together as opposed to how to be great.
For sure.
And a religion's more on how to get your life together. So it doesn't have as much of a template on how to be amazing. Maybe it
No. Well, no, they're different. Well, their version of being amazing is like,
So we're going another episode on the Patreon, and the people have spoken that they like the extra Patreon episodes because I got tons of messages, and we actually got probably more people joining in the last 2 weeks now that we started doing an episode on the Patreon every week. So I get so many messages from people being like, hey, well, you should do the Boys Cast twice a week. It's like, well, we do now. Just fucking pay if you do the full year, it's $55 and an extra episode on the Patreon every week. And follow me at Ryan Long Comedy.
At Danny Jokes. And me and Danny have 3 more dates. This weekend, we will be in St. Louis. And next weekend at Magoobies. Okay, peace. Bye.
We gonna live forever.